We have film on the floor that is on the ground that doesn't appear to be glass present. Pictures missing.
Appeared to be chemical burns from pine sol that had been poured on her lower face, neck, and upper chest.
The detectives just found a very bad crime scene. Mindy Morgenstern, 21, was found brutally killed in her own flat. Her neck had been cut off, and all possible clues had been wiped out.
There was a knife that was still in her neck. The handles broke off. There was another knife right next to her that was broke.
Detectives have to do a lot of work to find the killer because they have to figure out which of the many possibilities is hiding a dirty, deadly secret.
I knew her in passing. I cut it today right along here.
What kind of things have you been arrested for?
I mean, assault, battery, shoplifting.
I know you got a mark on your hand. How did you get that?
I don't have an answer for you.
Until an unexpected turn of events shows who the killer was, all along, hiding in plain sight.
He thought he got away with the perfect crime.
I really didn't think he was capable of anything like that.
What follows comes from public police records. It's the first time most of the footage in this movie has been seen. Before we dive into the full story, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you're passionate about real-life crime documentaries, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new case when it's released. Your support not only helps the channel grow, but also keeps these stories alive, ensuring that the victims and their stories are never forgotten. I'd also love to know, where are you watching from? It's always amazing to see how far these stories reach and how people around the world come together to remember, reflect, and demand justice. So leave a comment below, share your thoughts on this case, and join the conversation. Now, let's get started. Valley City, North Dakota is having a Wednesday night on September 13th, 2006. Tony Bauman and her friend Danielle Holmstrom are on their way to pick up Mindy Morgenstern, 21, for a night out with the girls. But Mindy's cell phone hasn't been on since the afternoon. Tony runs up the stairs and opens Mindy's door. When she turns on the lights and sees Mindy lying dead on the floor with her neck cut and a white belt around her waist, she feels like she's in a nightmare.
I was in my car when Tony was running out of Mindy's apartment building, screaming and yelling. I think Mindy's dead, something around her neck.
A neighbor runs to the flat when she hears the frantic screams and sees the dead body. The scared woman then calls the emergency lines. A responding cop shows up right away, but he's not ready for how violent the scene is.
And I saw her laying on her back. There was a knife that was still in her neck. The handles broke off. There was another knife right next to her that was broke.
There's something else that adds a strange layer to the scary sight. There is a strong smell of pine sol at the crime scene that can't be ignored.
Pine sol bottle. It was laying in the crook of the arm of Mindy Morgenstern. Was it to deface the body, or was it to destroy any evidence that would have been left there?
There are no signs of breaking in, and nothing seems to have been taken. Mindy's wallet, cell phone, and purse are all on the ground next to her. From what I could tell, it wasn't even an attack. But the police noticed something odd about the condo. Several pictures of Mindy and her friends and family are missing from a lot of picture frames.
Look on the north wall. First of all, there are no pictures on the north wall. Down below, of course, there is a picture that is on the ground that doesn't appear to be glass present. Pictures missing.
There are hints that someone is crazy about Mindy, but at this point, we can't say for sure. From Mindy's friends, we know that she got home from college around 12:30 p.m. and missed Tony's call almost right away. Soon after that, people in the building say they smelt a strong pine sol smell. Detectives were able to narrow down the time of the crime to that same afternoon. It was found that Mindy died between 12:45 and 1:30 p.m. after her body was sent for an autopsy. Something else that was found during the autopsy would become one of the most important clues later in the case.
We did the autopsy. It appeared like there may have been skin underneath her fingernails. We clipped her fingernails, and those scrapings and fingernails were sent to the state crime lab where they were analyzed.
The small bits of skin under Mindy's fingernails are a significant discovery. But as the probe goes on, doubts start to form about one of the first people who saw the body. Robert Linz, the neighbor who called 911. When the police found out that Robert had done something very odd at the crime scene, it made him look twice.
He actually came up and touched the body. Well, it was certainly worth to talk to him.
Investigators are asking Robert Linz while they work on the DNA that was found under Mindy's fingernails. He is no longer just a helpful spectator all of a sudden. Investigators already know that Robert has a history of crime. With that past behind him, every word he says now is more clear.
Okay, let's go back to Wednesday. You're home watching TV, you're sitting down for supper, and then what happened?
I'm sitting on the couch, watching TV, watching on chips and I hear this abnormal noise outside. Because we're right on the front. And what I mean by abnormal is it wasn't normal as far as the voices go or any noises that it was an agitated noise.
Robert carefully tells the police what he saw and heard. He says he heard Mindy's friends screaming and that when he got to the crime scene, one of them asked him to check on her. At first, Robert's story seems to be true until the police see that his hands are stained with cuts and scratches. It was fresh, raw, and said way too much for someone who said they were just checking for a pulse.
What's your finger there? What's happened there? I see you got a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah, white boy Band-Aid.
But that's not the only thing that makes you wonder. When the police ask for a DNA sample, Robert's answer makes the case more complicated.
I didn't touch anything, with my fingers. And when I did, like I said, knocked on the door like this. And when I opened the door, because it was a jar, I opened it like this. And when I touched her arm, I touched it like this.
It was an oddly detailed defense that only raised suspicions. After Robert agrees, swab samples are taken for DNA testing. However, the truth about him will not be known until the results are in. Until then, police are interested in Mindy's personal life to see if there are any problems that could have turned deadly.
We started to canvass the neighborhood, conduct interviews of Mindy's friends, acquaintances.
They called me in. They asked if there was anybody we thought who would want to do this to Mindy or why, and we had no idea.
Anyone could be a suspect among the hundreds of sad faces. One of these faces stands out in an interesting way. Another neighbor from Mindy's building that one of her friends really likes.
I remember seeing lights flashing, all of these people coming in and out, all these people gathering, people crying, people hugging. And then you see this man carrying a laundry basket like there is nothing wrong with the chaos that is going on.
Concerned, Lacey tells an officer about this neighbor. When the officer looks into him, they find out that he is Maurice Mo Gibbs, 34 years old, and lives in the flat above Mindy's. Mo helps out when they talk to him, and he comes down to the station for an interview. They find out that he works as a prison guard in Barnes County.
What we need to do is start eliminating people. And I know you voluntarily gave a DNA sample. And the only way we can do that, we've got to start eliminating people as suspects or having anything to do with it.
The investigator also finds something about Mo that makes them want to learn more about him.
So you got honorable discharge on?
Dishonorable.
What was that for?
Assault.
Assault? Who did you assault?
It was long story.
Oh, okay. Evidently somebody you shouldn't have been assaulted. Okay. How long have you worked for the Sheriff's Department here?
Since May.
And your position is called what? Correctional officer? Okay. What about prior to that? You ever been arrested for anything?
Recently? Or all my life?
What kind of things have you been arrested for?
Assault, battery, shoplifting.
Where were all these things at?
California. This is before I even turned 18.
The police then ask Mo how he knew Mindy and what kind of relationship they had as neighbors.
So did you know Mindy well enough that you were on a first name basis? You talked to each other all the time?
Well, no, we didn't talk to each other all the time. It was in passing. Like, we would see each other passing, like, hey, how you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But it was no long conversations.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Okay. But did she know your name?
Yeah, I would believe so.
Okay.
Because she knows my wife.
Okay.
So, they know the whole family.
Did you guys get together and visit at all?
Like, just to go out and hang out?
Well, even in the apartment building.
No, we never hung out. I mean, I went to her place one time, and that was probably either a week and a half or 2 weeks ago. And that was just because she was coming home and she was holding her pants, holding a laundry basket and a book bag.
After hearing this, Mo tells the police where he was in the afternoon of September 13th, the day Mindy was killed.
Well, and this, I've been talking to my wife because I might have my days mixed up on but I know now that me and her talked about it, I left the apartment at 11:30 with her because she has to be at work at 12:30 that day. And we went to lunch. So then I dropped her off at work at around 12:30, 12:35, and I came back to the apartment. And I got to the apartment between 12:45 and 1 o'clock.
Where'd you guys go to lunch at?
I'm gonna guess and say Burger King, but we do so many things. It's just hard to remember.
Well, yeah, that's a week down the road here, and I know you went back to the apartment building.
Yes.
Okay, so what time do you think you got back to the apartment building?
I said between 12:45.
Even though Mo has been cooperative and the cops respect him, the detectives are still not sure who he really is because of something in his past. Detectives let him go because they don't know anything else that links him to the crime scene. Mindy's murder is slowly becoming an open case, meaning that anyone could have been hiding their horrible crime. Detectives will keep a close eye on the people who were most important to Mindy, the ones she trusted and talked to every day. That's when her boyfriend, Jordan Raynham, shows up. Since Jordan and Mindy have been dating for more than a year, the police need to look into it more thoroughly.
Look.
We want to talk to you about the night before, and then take us right through the day, okay?
Okay.
So, you were the night before. That would have been the evening of the 12th.
Okay. We went out to Stop and Go. We got something to drink. We rented a movie. It was called Inside Man. We got home, we watched it. Next one,
Jordan told the police that he had only talked to Mindy once on the 13th, and that was strange in and of itself. She often called or texted Jordan to tell her about every little thing that happened during the day. That's why her sudden silence wasn't just strange, it scared him deeply. He tells police that he was working on the family farm when Mindy was killed, which helps them figure out where he was. In addition, he doesn't think twice when police ask for DNA samples and a polygraph. He agrees with both. At least on the surface, this move makes it look like he has nothing to hide. Detectives don't need to keep him on the suspect list because of the results, the fact that he helped, and the fact that his background is clean. So they don't think it's her boyfriend, which takes away a key name from the case. While that is true, it doesn't help clear up the case much. As the lack of certainty grows, a new lead appears. Mindy's friends tell us that Jordan wasn't the only important person in her life. It turned out that she wasn't really over Kyle Kuznia, her ex-boyfriend, and whatever was going on between them is enough for police to look into it more. Someone comes in to talk to Kyle 3 days after Mindy was killed.
Tell me how your relationship developed and what happened.
Let's see. So we dated for about 2.5 to 3 years. And over that time period, it was, I guess, really hard and kind of a rocky relationship. And mainly, I was just my own personal opinion, but her ex-boyfriend, it seemed like he was always kind of in the picture, whether they were talking on the phone or because he was, not to say obsessed, but was definitely, had feelings for her still after they broke up.
Kyle says something that not many people like about Mindy. Kyle says Mindy was interested in other guys while she was with him.
And it seemed like anytime I would chat with one of my friends that was a female that I'd known for maybe our freshman year up through our senior year, she would seem like she would get a little jealous. She would, yell at me about it, and I'd tell her, relax. I said, it's like we've known each other for 3.5 years, and I said, there's no feelings, no nothing. I said, we're just talking about, the basketball game last night or something. And so I'd bring it up to her as far as, I said, so is it wrong for me to get upset with you if you're still talking to your ex-boyfriend compared to just a friend I've had before? Obviously, you were in the picture. And I'm just trying to think, kind of really after that, finding another girl or female down in Fargo.
The interview with Kyle shows a complex picture with feelings of jealousy, confusion, and stress. The police know Kyle isn't a sure thing, but before they end their conversation with him, Kyle tells them something shocking.
She was very flirty, young lady.
Have you had any other contact with her?
No, like I said, I don't remember receiving any phone calls that I didn't take or anything like that. I know she would kind of work or get information kind of through my dad or whatever. It seemed like him and her would continue to talk, and he'd call me and say, well, Mindy's, this is going on or this is going on. And I even asked my dad too. I said, I would appreciate it if you just stopped talking to her. That's kind of weird.
Police are very interested in that new information. Detectives don't understand why an old married man was talking to a college student, especially since the man called Mindy so often and for such long periods of time that it made even Kyle uncomfortable.
I said, because really, Dad, I said, it's even tearing our relationship apart. I said, it's like, I don't want you talking to her. And I said, what do you, 10, 20 years down the road, you guys are still going to be talking, and Candace and I will maybe be married and having a couple of grandkids, and you're still going to be talking to my, ex-girlfriend. I said, that's just kind of weird.
It is kind of weird.
Yeah. I think back in June or July, I told him you stop talking to her. I said, unfortunately, I just won't come home for 2 years then. I said, and you can tell Mom and the siblings and brothers and sisters why.
Two big puzzle pieces were left out by Kyle's conversation. One, Mindy was interested in more than one guy while she was engaged to Kyle. It doesn't become suspicious until police can link it to something they find at the crime scene. Mindy's shots are gone. When detectives see the smashed photo frames of Mindy, they can't help but wonder, could it have been a secret lover from the past who was crazy about her? Roger Kuznia, Kyle's dad, was the second knot. Detectives call Rodney in for a friendly chat, but they really want to find out more about him and the shady relationship he had with her.
You and Mindy became, we call it friends, She dated your son.
Correct.
And I don't understand the relationship that you have with her after your son broke up.
Well, you'd have to know Mindy. She was quite the bubbly character.
I understand that.
Her actions and her, put it this way, she reminded me so much of my wife in her younger days.
Okay.
Said like it was. She didn't like you, she let you know. Or if something was wrong when you said that, type deal. Person like that.
It doesn't make sense to compare Mindy to his wife when she was younger. It blurs the lines and makes me wonder how they are connected. For the police, it smells like an addiction. Then comes the information that makes them sure they are right. According to the police, one of the last calls Mindy got on the night she was killed was from Rodney. Detectives are not happy with the voicemail. This makes them wonder if it was real sadness or a planned attempt to change how people saw him after the fact. No matter what the truth is, the police can't just let Rodney go. His DNA is gathered, and Rodney Kuznia is now an official and important part of the story.
At this time in the investigation, we had some really good suspects, which would be the ex-boyfriend Kyle, his father Rodney, Jay, and Mo. We had to keep eyes on all four of these suspects until the DNA samples came back.
Shades of doubt grow around the case as the number of suspects does. And while the investigation goes on, people outside of the police office take a moment to mourn. The funeral for Mindy is a very sad scene. Detectives are sent quietly to Mindy's funeral to watch in the hopes that it will reveal something that the interrogations haven't. But if the killer is really there in a room full of sad people, they fit right in. To this point, detectives have only one thing to go on: the DNA findings. The most important thing that will solve this puzzle is now Mindy's last fight with her killer, in which she scratched the killer. 4 main suspects are now in the sights of the police. But as they think about what to do next, another tip comes in from a very strange place.
As law enforcement is gathering and following up on leads, it turns out one of the leads was actually provided by Mindy prior to her death.
Brad Cruff, the district attorney, says that 2 to 3 weeks before the murder, Mindy had called the police, making them think that someone was following her. That detail, which was once written off as anxiety, now has a very scary feel to it. Detectives find Mindy's co-worker after more research. The tip points to a man who lives across the street from Roby's. They are now very aware of someone who seems sketchy. Detectives are ready to learn more about a man who has been quietly hanging out around the edges of the case. So they catch him and ask him.
Do you live anyplace else besides in your camper?
No.
Okay. Kind of a loner, are you?
You could say I'm a drifter, but, yeah, I'm kind of a loner.
Have you ever been in any kind of trouble with the law?
None.
Have you ever eaten at, do you ever go for coffee or anything at Roby's?
Nope. There's one place I've never been in.
You've never been in Roby's?
Nope.
It's right across the street from you.
I know.
You've been in almost all the other restaurants, but not there.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I don't have an answer for you.
Remember what you were doing on Wednesday?
On Wednesday? Mm-hmm. I was here.
Here Wednesday? Did you know this girl?
Not at all.
They notice something else about him besides how he acts in the interview room, which is strange. He got a new scratch on his arm.
I know you got a mark on your hand. How did you get that?
When I put that oil filter on.
Was it kind of a tight squeeze to get your hand?
Yeah.
Here's the deal. We've questioned a lot of people, and every person that we've talked to so far has been extremely cooperative with us, such as you have been with these questions that we've asked.
Sure, I'd like to help you find whoever did that.
Did you have anything to do with this girl's death?
I haven't killed anyone.
Did you kill her?
Ever. I didn't kill her.
With that, the number of suspects has now reached 5. The guy from across the street, Robert Linz, Kyle Kuznia, Rodney Kuznia, Mo Gibbs, and all of them are now people who are being looked into in Mindy's case. 5 days after the murder, on September 18, 2006, DNA tests were done on all 5 candidates. The results break the tension with a single truth that shocks everyone involved in the case. There is so much shock when the name is revealed that the DNA is checked twice to be sure. The outcome is the same both times, though. Someone who had been there from the start and was easy to see. Someone the officers know and trust is now linked to the worst crime in the area, which shocks them.
4 of the samples came back negative, and 1 of the samples came back a positive match. Well, that DNA was ran twice just to verify that the DNA was correct. The DNA that came back positive pointed towards a person in the community that a lot of people knew and trusted.
Based on the DNA samples taken from Mindy's nails, Mo Gibbs, a corrections officer in Barnes County, is the person who fits the mold. As soon as Mo gets back to the station, agents will try to get him to confess without letting on that his secret is out in the open.
Regarding Mindy's death, do you intend to truthfully answer those questions?
Yes.
Between the ages of 21 and 33, do you remember hurting someone on purpose?
No.
During the first 33 years of your life, do you remember forcing a girl to have sex with you?
No.
The detective already thinks Mo's story isn't telling the whole truth, but he decides to trap him even more by giving him a new task. This one is meant to make Mo's mind race and force him to break the act he's been carefully putting together.
You said you have no idea how Mindy died or anything. Is that correct? Other than what you heard that she had her throat cut. But other than that, you wouldn't have any idea of anything that happened to her?
No.
Okay. You have no idea if, she was tied up or she was...
Well, I've heard it wasn't a fault.
Okay. But you don't know, you shouldn't know, was she tied up or anything like that?
No.
Okay. You don't know if she was suffocated with a blanket or anything like that, or with a plastic bag, or whether she was choked or anything like that?
No.
Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make up another 8 questions. And what they're going to be are different things that she could have been choked with. And again, I'll go over with you. Only the person that was actually in there should know that. And you weren't in there, so you shouldn't know any of this.
Okay.
All right? Okay, which of the following items is wrapped around Mindy's neck? A rope?
No.
A bra?
No.
A pair of pants?
No.
A pair of nylons?
No.
A shoelace?
No.
A belt?
No.
A hose?
No.
A clothes hanger?
No.
Mo doesn't know that he failed the test 3 times yet, but he still won't admit to doing this horrible thing. So detectives end the polygraph test and let the evidence and results talk for themselves.
Well, there's a little bit of indication there that something is bothering you about this, and I guess I just want to try and get it resolved.
Bothering about what?
Well, like for example, you claim you didn't know anything about what was wrapped around her neck and that, but yet when I asked you about the belt, you really reacted to it, and I guess I'm just sort of wondering why that was.
I just answered, truthfully. I don't know.
Okay. Did you have any type of relationship going with Mindy or anything?
None whatsoever.
And I know you just got married, and you may be afraid to talk about it, but if you did, we need to know about it so we can explain the reactions here. What do you know about DNA?
Nothing.
Nothing? And you let him take a swab from you to match against DNA.
Yeah.
How would you feel if I told you that your DNA matches DNA that we found on Mindy's body?
I'd be like, that wasn't true, so I know I wasn't there, so.
Okay. DNA is pretty specific, down to millions of people.
Yeah, I understand that.
And somewhere along the line, Mindy scratched the person that attacked her. Your DNA is matching what we found on her, under her fingernails. You tell me then, how did scrapings or your skin get under her fingernails? How could that have happened?
You tell me. I know nothing about DNA. I know I wasn't there.
The only way it could have gotten there, Mo, was through contact.
It's clear that Mo is trapped, but what he never, ever thought would happen is that the DNA test also showed another dark truth about his past that is now in the detective's file.
The DNA that they brought up, it also matches the DNA that was found on a girl that was assaulted 2 years ago in Fargo.
Okay. 2 years ago in Fargo?
Yep, in 2004. During the time period you were in Fargo.
A case that was never solved because the person who did it was never found until now. It was Mo Gibbs, after all. Everyone in the officers' group knows Mo and thinks of him as a smart and professional coworker. Mo is given many chances to tell them the truth, but he is sure that he had nothing to do with the murder. The police can't figure out what to do next, so they arrest Mo on charges of first-degree murder.
Could you stand up, please, and put your hand behind your back? We have an arrest warrant for the murder of Mindy Morgenstern. Okay.
So what do you think, Dave, about this stuff with Mo?
Honestly, I was shocked. I knew Mo personally, but I knew that the evidence and the DNA didn't lie. I knew that Mo had done it.
Even though the police are shocked that one of their own did such a horrible thing, things are about to get worse. In the end, the Valley City Police Department finds out that Mo Gibbs changed his name from Glenn Dale Morgan Jr. in 2005 and had been in jail for 5 years for his part in a drive-by shooting. After another, all the bad things he had been keeping from everyone his whole life came out. 6 more women from Barnes County Prison come forward after he is charged to say that Mo Gibbs raped them while he was a guard there. Mo Gibbs is accused of killing someone and assaulting 7 other people. He pleads guilty to sexual attack, but he is still being tried for killing Mindy. A DNA expert for the defense says at the trial that Mo's DNA was only touched when he helped Mindy with her laundry, which ends the trial prematurely. But it turns out to be Mo's last-ditch effort to defend himself.
They brought in a director of a DNA lab who was actually Quincy's lab assistant on that old Quincy television show. He was their, I guess, star witness.
Later, it turns out that this so-called expert was really an actor from a crime show who was running a fake crime lab. Maurice Mo Gibbs was found guilty of killing Mindy Morgenstern on November 11th, 2007. He was found guilty of first-degree murder on November 20th, 2007, but he never said he was the one who did it and never told the truth about that day. Mo was given a sentence of life in jail without the chance of getting out. He is being held at the North Dakota State Penitentiary in Bismarck, North Dakota right now. The murder of Mindy Morgenstern shook her community to its core. She was young, kind, full of promise, someone whose light touched everyone around her. Her life was stolen far too soon, but her memory continues to inspire those who knew her to fight for justice, safety, and change. Stories like Mindy's remind us that evil can hide in plain sight, but they also show us the power of courage, compassion, and community, people who refuse to let her name fade away. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you for taking the time to remember Mindy. Please like this video, subscribe for more true crime documentaries, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new case. And tell me in the comments, what do you think needs to change to prevent tragedies like this from happening again? Until next time, stay safe, look out for one another, and I'll see you in the next video.